To another video. Now, this is a follow-up to my previous video where I discussed the Next Level Racing FGT Elite Sim Rig. And in that video I spoke about how maybe sometime in the future upgrading from my seat mover to a 4-actuator motion system. Well, it took a couple of weeks of having this rig before this happened. So this is the Sigma Integrale DK2 Plus 4-motion actuator system. This is mounted on the Next Level Racing FGT Elite Sim Rig. And so in this video I'll mainly be discussing how to install this system on this specific rig, because there's not really many videos or discussions about that. And so, like I said in my previous video, I was kind of worried about if I'd be able to actually fit a 4-actuator system on this rig, mainly because of the way the pedal mount mounts on the outside of your sim rig, so that limits the amount of space that you have. So let's talk about how to put this on your rig. So I contacted the team at Sigma to get some dimensions before I even thought about it. I needed the dimensions of the brackets for the actuators and then the height of the motor. So you can see here, these are the brackets that the actuators attach to that go to your rig. These are 5 1/4 inches wide, and then this motor is about 4 inches taller than your rig. And so those are the main dimensions I needed, mainly for the front actuator. So first I'll talk about the rear actuator. As you can see, it's pretty easy to place that. The only concession is on this specific rig they don't use corner brackets. They actually put holes through the profile, so you just put the screws through there. So now there's a screw head sticking out, and so you can't put a T-nut over that to mount this on there. And so you lose a little bit of space in the rear. Not a big concern. The main thing was, where are you going to put this front actuator? So I have the light shining on these two brackets. So that is the pedal bracket and the wheel deck mount. And as you can see, there's not much space there. Now if you move everything forward and move stuff around, I was able to get 6 inches there and 4 inches height from that bar where the pedal mount is. So you are able to put it there, but actually you don't want it there. You kind of want it more towards the rear of the rig. Why? You want to balance the weight of where you're sitting, which is probably going to be the most weight on these actuators, so we don't have more weight on one versus the other. So you actually kind of want it forward, and so that worked perfectly, mounting it on the shifter mount and the wheel mount. Now you can have the shifter mounted to your chair. That should work as well, but mounting it this way works perfectly. I have a little bit of space to spare on each side of that bracket, so I can move it around just a little bit if I wanted to. So once I decided that's about where I was going to place the actuators, it took 3 or 4 hours of getting everything arranged before I put the actuators on. So moving the seat where I needed to be, the wheel mount, the pedal mount, the shifter arm, getting all that positioned took hours, because you have to move everything, and you have to move it all at once because they're all connected except for the seat. And so it just takes some time. It's real finicky, and it just takes time. About an hour or maybe an hour and a half was spent mainly trying to get this pedal deck the way it's set up and get its spacing right, and how I needed it to be positioned away from my seat. So these pedals are different. I did upgrade my pedals to the SimMotion P1000Is. I did have the Fanatec V3s, and luckily they have the same mounting pattern, so I didn't have to move that at all when I installed these pedals. So that was nice. I'll talk about that upgrade in another video. But like I said, that was 3 or 4 hours to get everything set up. Installing the actual actuators was about 30 minutes to 45 minutes, and then doing the wiring. So it is relatively simple to put the actuators on. It's just getting everything set up that takes time. So some tips. This is what I should have done when I first got the rig in order to put the actuators on. So I can see at the rear of the rig, I still kept the feet on the rig. And what you want to do is put a board across both of those feet on the back and another one on the front, and have it extend out past your rig, and then use, like I have back there, blocks to raise that board up to the level that you need, and then you can just slap the actuators on. Now you are going to have to use the sliding T-bolt nuts that they give you. That works. You're not able just to slide it all the way through, like I said, because of that ending bracket there with those screws going through. So once again, a little bit time consuming, but once you get that done, very simple. Doing the cable mounting was actually pretty easy as well. As you can see, I do have the motors a little bit different in the back because I wasn't sure how I wanted to run the cables. I'm still deciding that. And so you can move these motors any way you want. So they come shipped facing inside. And so if you don't want that, what you need to do, like I have these moved a little bit away or change the direction, you just unscrew these 4 bolts here, other side, and then you just pick that motor up and then put it back in. There's no wires or anything. It's just you just have to fit it in a special bracket, whatever, and it works fine. It's really simple to do, really easy, so you can move the motors any position that you need. And then I just got that plastic wiring tape and kind of mounted that there, mount it to the rig. And they have to go to the control box in the back. My only one gripe about the system and the setup is that the cables for the actuators to that control box, they're not very long, and so you have to have the control box really close to your rig. I was hoping I'd be able to put it through the wall to go to my closet, that way I wouldn't be seeing it, but they're just not that long. Maybe there's a reason for that, but you just make sure you're going to have to be putting that control box close in proximity to your rig. Other than that, the setup was really simple. If you do that one method of putting that board across the feet, I didn't do that at first, and so that's why you kind of see the car jack and some other things and all these different things. It took me a while to finally figure that silly thing out to do that, but I was able to get it done, and that's how I actually got the mat underneath there. So let's talk about that a little bit, what it's actually sitting on. I tried multiple things because I didn't want it sitting directly on the carpet. I am on a crawl space. These actuators do have haptic vibrations, and so I wanted to limit them a little bit. And so I first tried just placing them on the carpet on top of that, one of those things there. It's kind of used for what you can put a washing machine on to reduce the vibrations. It kind of worked, but those really weren't sticking to the carpet like I needed to do. And so they was kind of moving a little bit. The system was walking some. And so what I finally ended up doing was going out and getting a piece of MDF board. That's 3 foot wide by 4 foot long. I didn't want it going all the way to the front of the rim, just to make it too heavy. And then I got a treadmill mat and put it on top of that. So that's still kind of flattening. And that white thing that goes around that you see there, those are actually lights. I don't have those on right now. I'm still debating if I really want them, but I was just going to try something out because I had that MDF board kind of sticking out. So anyway, lights for that. But that's what I decided on, and now those are just sitting on top of that mat, and it holds it pretty well in place. I was a little not worried, but I did have some extra weight with that shifter arm, and so that foot on this specific actuator looked like there was a little bit more weight on the front. And so I went and bought some of these plastic shims, and so I might in the future put those underneath there to level that out, because after I raced a little bit, the foot wasn't sitting perpendicular. It was kind of moving a little bit. It was a little bit off, and so I might try those to rectify that issue. Other than that, no other problems. Some things you do have to look out for. Now, I did have my seat mover on this rig, and I didn't want to use that plus the new actuators. Then you get that's too much motion. Then you have to configure it really well because you don't want stuff canceling other out. And so I took that out and mounted the seat. And so that made the seat lower. And so I had to move the wheel deck a little bit lower because it was a little bit higher. And I was worried about these getting in the way. Luckily, they don't. But even though my seat's lower, the whole rig is higher because of how tall these are. So right now, these actuators are off. When they power them on, they'll actually go up high, move up higher, and it'll move my thing right about there. So that's where the top of the DD2. So as you can see right now, I do have it pretty close, the monitor stand to the wheelbase. Now, as you might can tell, maybe not, I do have a new monitor stand because since that raised the height, my old monitor stand wasn't tall enough. And so I ordered this is the next level racing single monitor stand. This is the carbon version. It's $100 more than the regular version. Main reason is because it comes with this Visa mount. Otherwise, it comes with the 2 brackets used for a TV mount. It's not very easy to use. And so with this mount, I'm able to install the Visa bracket to the back of the monitor, and I'm able to place the monitor on it by myself. I don't need anybody else. The monitor doesn't weigh that much, and I can put it on the stand and move it around if I need to. It just attaches one bolt there and one on the back. Really easy to do. So I didn't have to upgrade my monitor stand, and I was able to use my Bluetooth Revolution speaker brackets that they used. So I was just able to do a T-nut in there, then put brackets there. So now I have my front speakers. I'll be able to use speakers in my subwoofer. I'm eventually maybe put my rear speakers back. I don't think the bracket for my Bluetooth will work on this seat the way it just is. It's just not going to work. So I have to put those other speakers on a stand. Not a huge deal. Any other things I came across? That's about it. So to sum up, awesome system, really easy to set up or put the actuators on your system. The time that it's going to be taking you a while is to get everything moved in the right position, your seat, wheel deck, and pedal deck. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. I'm just very happy I was able to get this motion transducer system on my rig. And with that, I'll see you out there racing, and I'll have some more videos with the DK2 Plus system in action. Later.